we wanted to become more carbon neutral. And we then went, all right, we'll go solar panels. We got solar panels, we got the EV car, we got the battery. We're like, okay, what are we going to do now? We got to sort out how we're heating, that sort of thing. So I looked at the heat pump, to be honest, and that's where we were heading, the heat pump. But then when you look at this property, we've got concrete floors. So to put the heat pump in, not only would we have to pay for the heat pump, we would then have to pay for all our radiators to be changed, all our floors to be dug up, and because it's all pipes underneath, so that would all have to be dug up. So then obviously all new flooring and all that sort of thing to go down again after everything was done. So the cost of that, I then looked into the HVO and I was like, do you know what, this sounds a better deal for us. And lucky enough, Rob and John both said, look, give it a try. If after 4 weeks you say, it's not for us, we'll swap you back. No cost to us whatsoever. It literally was just changing a filter. Did it 10-15 minutes and gone. Literally, it was that quick. A week, the difference in the heat in this house was unbelievable. The radiators get so hot. We've had to do no changing inside whatsoever. I wouldn't give that up now.
My experience for 4 years is HVO is an absolutely fabulous fuel. I owe nothing to these guys. This is my opinion. This is my story. HVO is so much better than kerosene in so many different ways. It's non-carcinogenic. There's no odour. It's biodegradable, and it reduces my CO2 emissions by about 88 to 90%. Why would I want to increase my CO2 emissions by doing anything else other than being on HVO? It's the best solution for me.
Of the two blends, both perform brilliantly. One thing we have noticed is we use less of it than if it was 100% kerosene. It seems to go a lot further for the same amount of time that it's on. We don't have it on a great deal, certainly not in the mornings, because you don't need it in the mornings, but a few hours in the evening. Yeah, it's really good.
But you find that the boiler works?
Oh yeah, it's no different at all to...
I mean, again, it's an older boiler, isn't it?
It's coming on 20 years old.
Right. But it's running very well with this stuff.
It doesn't break down at all.
Because we've got irregular usage, so it's now impossible to set a time switch that covers everybody's requirements. So what we've got is we've got these on-demand switches. I can set up on time switches to preheat the building for the groups. Then when they come in, depending on what area they're using, they've got these switches where they can just push the button. Even if it's left on, it'll just automatically go off, or we can just cancel it. Generally half an hour will give them a good start to whatever's going on.
Have you found out on the amount of...
It's costing us less, because with the oil I used to fill up, and I have to say, old generation, my father used to say to me, if a tank is half empty, you fill it up, mate, you never get below half empty. So, you know, that's what I am, half empty, oh my God, we've got to get. So we used to fill our tank up possibly 2.5 times a year. With this, 1.5, maybe. And even now, I have to say, we keep looking, because I had it filled up months ago, and it's still 3/4 of a tank right there now. It is, and we've gone through the winter with it.
I think you've got to have a choice of how you do it depending on your property. I dare say brand new builds are suitable for it. You know, they're ideal. But when we did look at a heat pump a few years ago, the cost was just horrendous. And we were looking at about £50,000.
Wow!
Even with the government grant that they give you, is just prohibitive. So you know, you've got to be able to offer, be it electric, oil. Much prefer the HVO if we can have it all the time. And like I say, heat pumps, brand new houses, they're built and designed for it. So
But this is
you know, this was built 1860.
I mean, that's an important point. I mean, the studies that the industry have done is that over nearly half of all the homes on oil in the country are pre-1990. They are old properties. A lot of them are designed to breathe, and they don't have capital.
Mould is one thing, isn't it?
Sealing them up sometimes isn't always a good idea.
No,
on the newer, older stuff.
No. I think we would damage the structure of the property eventually if we did have to seal it up. It's designed to breathe.
There are loads of properties like this in this county alone, let alone the rest of the country, that financially cannot afford to dig up their floors, put new radiators in, do everything that needs to be done to have the air source pump. It's just not viable.
Even if you decide, I'm going to make that expense to go down the air source route, others in Kehelland do likewise, because of the grid capacity requirements. National Grid would be turning around and saying, sorry, I can't do it anyway. So even if you wanted to, as a village, you wouldn't be able to.
No, not for years.
I think one of the key things we said fundamentally is we have a very older population, and the damp properties are not brilliant for respiratory conditions.
No.
And I think, fundamentally, it's a no-brainer as a healthcare practitioner. I think we need to take responsibility for the older people in our living safe day. There's old damp cottages, so the cost implication for older people to have that into work done, it's not viable at all. We really need to look after the people.
On this installation we have stayed on pure, and it's given them a chance to have, was it 4 years now we've been running?
Yeah. 4 years. I mean, if there was an issue in 4 years, it would have come to life.
Yes.
100%.
They'd be moaning at us.
And I don't think Andrew's the sort of person that wouldn't be backward in coming forward.
I think we do a return to the government every month saying where all the oil goes. And the number of schools, churches, village halls that have kerosene throughout Cornwall is the list just goes down here.
If there's a service, we want 2 hours heating, and that's all. And you've got an enormous area. If you had a heat pump and you had the heat on all the time, if you have a church or a community building which is used extensively during the week with cooking facilities and warm room facilities and so on, you could fully justify a heat pump there because you want long periods of heat. Although I've had somebody on, and I need to pick this up with you later on, had a church come to me this week wanting to see if they can use HVO. They're very happy to go to a heat pump until somebody said, but you'll need 3-phase electricity. That'll be 10 grand to start.
We've heard that one.
And it's not like a business. We're running a business. I can say, I will invest £10,000 because I will save £1,000 over the next 10 years. The church or a community building cannot do that. Everything that it does has to be funded from money it already has.
The average, you can see there's 2418. It came out as an average of 24,000 for most properties to do it. Now I know there's a new type of air source, and I know that there's the high temperature one, but the problem is a lot of these are getting turned down because of the grid issues. So for Desmond to come back to us and say, oh well look, don't worry about changing the radiators, this is the high temperature one. It isn't electric. There isn't the grid anyway to do it, so that doesn't quite work, does it?
And having choices as well. I mean, obviously
we could not retrofit our house with the heat pump. It would be cost-wise unthinking. It's just nuts. And also for us as well, we just have to configure the whole house.
For us, it's and I quite merrily stand on the ancient on the single. I really would. There's nothing that I would say. We've got the car, we've got the battery, the solar, and then the fuel. It's like, we're hopefully doing our bit. What else we can do?
I'd be reluctant to have to get rid of that and put anything else in. And as long as Mitchell and Webber can keep it running, I'm happy with that.
HVO is an absolutely fabulous fuel.